Hey guys, I thought I'd hop on here and do a quick video on insurance. I find that there's a lot of uneasiness when it comes to insurance, especially because we always hear the bad stories about how so-and-so didn't pay out so-and-so's accident claim and all of that. So I am feeling uneasy, and I'm sure you guys are too. Plus, I actually just switched insurance companies because I felt like my previous insurer was like being a bit sketchy. So I had to change a couple of things in my policy, and I felt like they didn't ask me certain things, and it only clicked later. I was like, oh my word, I just told them that I moved to Cape Town. How come they didn't ask me for an updated work address? And I felt like the reason they did this is because they were trying to catch me out, so that one day when I do try claim for whatever reason, they'd be like, no, actually looks like you said your work address was Waterfall, but you haven't actually been in Waterfall for the last 6 months, so it's rejected. So basically I was like, you know what, I don't trust insurance companies. I'm just feeling uneasy. So this video is hopefully going to help you if you ever are needing to claim, but also just a nice way for you to check yourself, because a lot of us do have cars, which means we have car insurance. So there are a number of things that we need to be doing quite regularly that you might not remember. So stick around. Hopefully this video will remind you, and thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Khumalo, and I am super excited for this video. Please remember, these videos do not constitute financial advice. I am not a qualified financial advisor. Therefore, please do seek someone who is registered who can help you with your personal affairs. So the way we're going to do this video is I'm first going to define insurance, just so we're all on the same page. Then I'm going to tell you where to look for insurance. Number 3 are some tips for a successful insurance journey. Number 4, once you're covered, what you need to do, basically a checklist. And guys, before I forget, I did tell you guys that I was writing a little book / guide. So it is out, it is ready. I've actually got it here in my background. It's a get ready with me work edition, so definitely do grab a copy. I would recommend it for people who are in university and people who have just started working. And by just started working, I mean if you have less than 5 years experience. So as long as you're a young professional, I think you'll be great. But actually it applies to anyone. And in this book, we cover things like how to buy a car, young professionals bank account, apartment hunting, job tips, do's and don'ts, interview tips, wardrobe essentials, goal setting, budgeting and investing. There's a whole lot in this, okay? And actually the stuff that we're going to cover in this video is actually already covered here, but in more detail. So head over to lomaku.co.za and I wish you all the best. Oh, and also everyone who buys a copy actually gets a free keyring. I'm basically manifesting for you to put it on your car keys or your house keys, whatever you're looking for. So, you know, definitely grab a copy and you'll get a free keyring. And thank you so much to everyone who has actually purchased a copy. They're currently going for 280 Rand. So visit lomaku.co.za to grab yours. Alright, cool. Let's get right back into the video. So, firstly, what is insurance? Google says insurance is a means of protection from financial loss in which, in exchange for a fee, a party agrees to compensate another party in the event of a certain loss, damage, or injury. It is a form of risk management primarily used to hedge against the risk of a contingent or uncertain loss. So what does this really mean? Basically, it's meant to help you recover if something bad happens. Obviously, there are so many unknowns in the world, but you know, there is the risk that something bad might happen. So insurance is basically saying, all right, if something does happen, we'll cover you. What I want to emphasize is that insurance companies are meant to put you back to your original state. So it's not meant to be a way for you to get rich. If you're taking out insurance policies with the aim of being rich, I need to tell you something. You are potentially dabbling in some insurance fraud, so be very, very careful, because you will get caught and you will go to jail. But for everyone else, basically what you had, your insurance company is saying we will give you the same thing. And in the rare circumstance where they can't actually find the exact certain thing that you had, they will most likely give you something better. But that's after they've searched high and low for the exact same thing that you gave them. Number 2, where to look for car insurance companies. So a lot of us will actually just go to hippo.co.za and we'll, you know, punch in a couple of things, and then they'll give us a lot of possible premiums, and then you kind of click the one you want to go with, and then they give you a call. But what you'll find is, even though you only clicked one company, all the others are also still going to give you a call, because I mean, it is the nature of the game. But what I do want to recommend to you guys is that you actually look outside of the Hippo companies, because Hippo actually owns a couple of these insurance companies, or some form, some shape or form, in terms of their organizational structure. Correction. So Hippo actually advertises companies that are under the Telesure Investment Holdings, and this is mainly auto and general, budget insurance, Dial Direct, First for Women. So you'll usually get quotes from these companies and very limited other companies. But what I'm saying is Hippo will only recommend companies that they have a vested interest in, which means if you want to like maybe give one of these new companies your Naked, your Pineapple, AON or whatever, you might not actually find their premiums listed when you do a Hippo comparison. So make sure that you know of all these other insurance companies that are not covered by Hippo, so that you're actually making sure you're getting the best rate out of all of them. All right, cool. And then once you've actually selected these companies, a lot of others will also call you because I feel like they swap data across one another. So make sure you give every single person a chance to sell themselves to you, because at the end of the day, you are trying to get the best quote and the best deal for your specific circumstance. So, you know, take your time. Take your time. Do not try to get insurance like under pressure, because you'll literally be squeezed and you'll go with the first one and it might not be the best option. Number 3 important tips for a successful insurance journey. Firstly, answer honestly in all your quotes. Like I mentioned, a lot of companies are going to be calling you and it's going to be super annoying because sometimes you might not even have the car yet. So you're like answering all these questions based on a hypothetical car that is still at the dealership. It's okay. Relax. Take your time and answer as truthfully as you can. Where you're unsure, do let your insurer know that you're actually unsure, but you'll get back to them, and then make a note of it on your phone or somewhere just to remember to actually call them back and say, hey guys, so the car doesn't have a sunroof, so you can take that off, and then the car registration is 1 2 3 4 5 6, just to make sure that you've given them information that is as accurate as possible. So don't let minor details stop you from getting your quote. Just tell them you'll let them know. Right, cool. Number 2, read your entire policy wording. Insurance companies do this thing where they kind of bury you in information, because they'll give you like 50 plus pages back to back that you have to read, and it's like, I have not read this much in a very long time, like, you know. But I really do encourage you to actually take one Saturday whenever and just read through the whole thing. It doesn't have to be when you're like taking the cover. Even if you take the cover and then like maybe like a week or 2 weeks in, you actually sit down with the highlighter, read the entire thing. But actually I want to say do it before just to make sure that you know exactly what you're getting into. And also in terms of a contract, when you are signing a contract, you are actually meant to read the entire thing before you actually get into it. I'm just remembering that Miss Queen Anna, you are a chartered accountant, and she hadn't read the whole thing. So please read the whole thing. It takes a long time, but if you're squeezed for time, please make sure that you are reading your policy schedule at least, and making sure that that actually does apply to you. I'll tell you, I had a company that quoted me whilst I was trying to, you know, jump ship from my other one, and they gave me a policy schedule, and I realized that there were 2 things that they didn't actually like copy across from what I had said. So firstly, they got my home address incorrect, and I know it doesn't seem like a big deal because it's like, oh, whatever, but it actually is a big deal because your premiums are actually based off of your risk area. Because if I'm saying I'm living in Sandton and then you quote me for Deep Sloot, those are very different risk premiums, okay? So it's very important that you do get the right one. Actually, if you can, ask for a voice recording of all the responses you've given them. So I asked for this because I felt like the person who was actually taking my information wasn't really focusing. So I was like, can I have a copy of like the call, just so I could make sure that I had something on me, just in case one day they're like, oh no, we're not going to pay your claim because you said you live in Four Ways. And I'm like, but I did say Deep Sloot, here's the voice recording. Because I feel like as much as they say they do record these things, I feel like when I actually want to use the recording against them, they're going to suddenly have, you know, misplaced it. And I don't like taking chances. I have trust issues, okay? I feel like insurance is in the business of making money, and I'm not trying to be the one, you know, feeding them. Cool. And then lastly, guys, under the segment of a new insurance policy, please do make sure that you are shopping around. Like when you are getting all these different quotes, make sure that you are comparing things. Don't just compare the price, because a lot of us do. I mean, oh, this is cheaper by 500 rand. Obviously you're going to go for it, but make sure that you are still getting the same benefits. Like make sure if you said full comprehensive for the one, you're also getting full comprehensive for the other. And if you've got car hire on the one, make sure you're also getting car hire on the other, because you can't compare apples and oranges. It has to be the same type of policy, just to make sure that you are getting the best value. And also, guys, please do remember, sometimes when you do tell a company, oh, I think I'm going to go with company B because they actually quoted me a lot less, company A can actually now tweak something in your policy, and then they'll be like, oh, we can offer you a fantastic, and then, you know, it sounds great because it's like, wow, they gave me such a great amount. Please make sure that you ask them how they got to it. So some companies will get like a nice manager approval where they give you a large discount. That's great. Chef's kiss, you won. But if someone has just given you this nice premium, but they've actually hiked up your excess, please do reconsider, because actually that happened to me. One company said they could lower my premium because I said I wanted something around 1,000, 1,200, and they were like, all right, they can give me 800. And I was like, wow. Alright. And then he was like, okay. And I was like, okay, but out of interest, how did you get to that? And then he told me I actually increased your excess from 6,000 to 72,000. And I was like, excuse me, what? Basically, guys, an excess is before you make any claim, before your insurance company pays out for anything, that's the amount you have to pay. So it's like insurance companies don't want people who are going to waste their time. Like, don't come and waste my time for a small dent that's going to cost 1,000 rand, because for me to fix that dent, I'm going to charge you 5,000 first just to process your claim. Basically, what this guy did is that if I had any issue, even if it's a small bumper, I had to cough up 70,000 just before they could actually start talking to me, which doesn't make sense because my car is like, I was like, bruh, thank you, but goodbye. And I hung up. Right, cool. And now number 4, once you're covered, remain covered. So I'm going to give you a checklist that you need to do. I kind of do this every 6 months, but some things I have to do every 3 months. But let's get right into it. Number 1, check if I'm still a regular driver. So my car is usually driven by me. Like, it's a given. But if you're in a situation where you share your car with your husband and your kids sometimes use it, you need to make that assessment about who's using the car the most, because that needs to be the regular driver. Number 2, is your car being used for personal or business use or commercial use? So a lot of companies actually have different definitions of what all of this is, but I had to recently change into a business mode, and then actually my new company's like, no, we consider that still personal. So I was like, oh yay. So basically personal is just you. It's you going to work, you going to do your groceries, nice. Business use is sometimes like, oh, if you're going to attend seminars and gigs and you know you're an influencer, freelancer, maybe you might need to have a look at business. And commercial use is like if you are basically giving people lifts for money. So you could be an Uber driver, a taxi driver, whatever. Okay, so if you're unsure, read your policy, they will define it. And if you're still unsure, give your insurer a call, because you know what, they won't tell you this, but when you're trying to claim, they'll be like, we see you do a lot of small trips. What job are you in? And then you'll nicely respond, oh no, I'm just an Uber driver. And then be like, got you. Then they don't pay. Number 3, nighttime parking versus daytime parking. So make sure that the address there is correct. Number 4, carpooling. If you are carpooling with your colleagues, make sure that you've read your policy and you understand what the requirements are. Sometimes you need to disclose, sometimes you don't if you're not charging people or if you're not making a profit rather. So just make sure you're aware. Number 5, is your car still locked behind a garage, behind a gated community, biometric access and all of that? So whatever you said in your initial call, make sure that it still applies, because maybe you've moved provinces or maybe you've moved houses, you're still in the same area, you know, so it's not that big of a deal. But you know, this one now has a security man at the gate, so you know, maybe your premium could go even lower. So make sure you check that. Number 6, monthly kilometers. Some insurance companies actually ask you how much you're traveling, and then they kind of cap you. I've actually only ever heard of this once. So if you are someone who has said, oh no, I travel about 600 kilometers a month, do keep track of how much you're traveling, and if you feel like you need to adjust it, please do adjust it, because sometimes they only cover you within those kilometers. Number 7, working remotely / hybrid. So during COVID, a lot of insurance companies actually offered people reduced premium because they weren't driving to the office that much, meaning they were less risky. But now a lot of us have gone back to work full time, so make sure that you have made that change. Number 8, tracker. Some insurance companies will actually ask you to put in another tracker on top of your current tracker. That's their own one, so that they can track your kilometers, but that's not the real point. What I really want to say about tracker is, if you have a tracking device and you've told your insurance company that yes, I have a tracking device, make sure that your tracking device is still there and is still active. So I actually read the fine print, and it said with my tracker I need to be checking it every 3 months. Basically, when you check a car tracker, you give your tracker a call, and then they'll ask you emergency / testing your device, and you'll push that one as if it's an emergency. Then you say, hi, I'm just testing my tracking unit. They're like, okay, cool. Which car? You'll say JH what. Sometimes they'll ask you for the little password or whatever, and then they'll tell you, all right now we see your car is located at 1 2 3 4 5 6. And then it's done, and then you need to check 3 months later again. So I've actually got a reminder on my calendar to check on the, I think it's on the 4th of every 3rd month basically, and I chose the 4th because the 1st is sometimes so busy, so the 4th is like such a random day, so I know I'll never forget. And guys, please do make sure of this. Like, I actually know someone who got rejected when they got hijacked because they said you didn't check your tracking unit often enough, so we think your tracking unit was faulty. And it's like, bruh, and it's fine printing your tracking units and it's fine printing your insurance company, but please do check it. And then lastly, when you are leaving the country and your car is financed, you need to actually tell your bank, your financer, that you're leaving, and you also need to tell your insurance company. And even if it's not financed but it's insured, you need to tell your insurance company that, guys, I'm leaving, planning on leaving on this date, I'm driving, I'm gonna cross this border and all of that, just so that they can keep track of your travel. And I think the reason they do this is because sometimes when you do have an issue abroad, insurance companies actually have a harder time retrieving your car because they have limited authority in certain jurisdictions. So, you know, they need to know that you're out, and if you are out, they'll make you sign a couple of things like, oh, you know, if you can't like retrieve your car, like it's not really our fault type of thing because you decided to do it. So make sure that you are telling them before you exit the country. I don't even think you can exit the country without those documents, actually. I don't think so. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this video has been helpful. Good luck. You are doing great. The fact that you're watching this video. And also do not forget to grab yourself a copy of Get Ready With Me Work Edition. Even if it's not for you, grab it for your little cousins, siblings, nieces, nephews. And you can actually get them a gift card too if you're not sure where they stay and you want to like ship it to them directly. So yeah, thank you so much. And I will catch you in the next video. Bye.